An RV trip to Mexico takes some planning. Before your southern journey even begins, certain U.S. Mexico border regulations must be understood, and it's essential to follow all of the stipulations to obtain a required Temporary Importation Permit, TIP or TIP, for your RV and tow vehicle. Not having a valid permit can result in vehicle confiscation. Welcome to Snowbirds and RV Travelers Travel Thursdays, where we share the best destinations, travel tips, trends, news, and reviews that make this the absolute best time to be an RVer. Enjoy the show. Please share it with your friends and take a moment now to like, follow, and subscribe. You can catch up on previous episodes at rvpodcasts.com. Destination Mexico Ticket to Paradise was written by Paul Beddows and presented by Mack. Here's an exclusive offer for Snowbirds and RV Travelers listeners. Golden Village Palms RV Resort is a welcoming retreat for an active lifestyle. From dining to recreation to shopping, everyone enjoys this pet-friendly RV resort. If you call 1-888-RV-STAYS, that's 1-888-787-8297, and use promo code SNOWBIRDS, you can have a discounted monthly rate of just $749 for stays through April 2024. Spend your days on the pickleball courts, relax by the pools, work out in the fitness center, or enjoy one of the many daily resort activities in sunny California. If you're crossing the border with a Class A, Class B, or Class C, you are fortunate. There are only a few regulations to be granted a 10-year vehicle permit. At the end of your trip, when you enter back into the U.S., you can cancel it, unless you plan on leaving your rig down there. But if you do, you will not be able to get another one for 10 years, except if you do it in your spouse's name. There are stricter guidelines for tow vehicles. The regulations for the Servicio de Administración Tributaria, the regulatory body, state a tow vehicle cannot have a cargo capacity of more than 3,500 kilograms, 7,176 pounds, which is not usually an issue. Banacito, the government authority that issues vehicle permits required for entry, insists this is the GVWR that equals curb weight plus cargo capacity. In fact, they have often refused permits to 3/4 and 1-ton trucks. The issue seldom affects caravans, possibly because they arrive en masse, but it can affect individual RVers. The reasons there are weight restrictions is it prevents entry of commercial vehicles. If your tow vehicle has an add-on toolbox, you can have even more difficulty. However, there are a few ways to overcome this. First, remove all heavy items and as much fuel as possible from your tow vehicle. Then take off the tailgate if you don't need it. And have the truck weighed at a government vehicle weigh station to determine if it comes in less than 3,500 kilograms. Second, request form CVSE1061 from a staff member and ask them to fill it out. Make sure the line GVW when weighed is less than 3,500 kilograms. Weigh station agents are usually cooperative if you explain why you want it. If you have a heavier vehicle, like an F450 or an F550, you may have difficulty taking it into Mexico. However, it has been done. Finally, take a photo of your truck hitched to your trailer so the front plate is visible. Printing and showing it, if necessary, will prove recreational use. If you have trouble crossing with your tow vehicle, go to Aduana, Mexico Customs, which has an office at most borders. They can overrule a Banacito and issue an importer vehicle debit report, which is an exemption form. It can also be useful during future visits. You'll need a vehicle permit on the mainland except for the Sonora-free zone that leads to South Guaymas and Baja. Truck campers are usually considered cargo and do not require a separate permit, especially if they don't have a separate plate. Some RVers remove the jacks to get them into Mexico as a Class A to avoid worrying about weight restrictions. It may not apply unless it states that a motorhome is on your registration. Nevertheless, it is worth inquiring about further if your truck camper is on an F450 or F550. You may obtain permits online, but it's not advisable unless you reside close to the border. They are almost impossible to cancel except in person, and you will not be able to get another one. Since all RVs have to pay a non-refundable permit fee of roughly $70 US, you'll also lose your deposit. A deposit, by the way, is not required for motorhomes. There are some other restrictions to consider as well. If your vehicle is in a company name or trust, you'll need a letter of permission from the lien holder to take it into Mexico, which is usually the bank that does the financing. This is applicable even if you own the company, and is also the case with a vehicle that has a lien on it. If the lien is not indicated on the registration, just make sure it's fully insured. For more information on insurance, visit mexicocaravans.com/insurance. Most RVers in BC and Alberta cross at the Nogales-Mariposa border. The permit station is located approximately 20 kilometers south of the border. Do not miss it. You will also obtain your tourist card there. If you're in Baja, where permits are not required, and want to take the ferry across to mainland Mexico, you'll need to visit the Banocito office in La Paz. They will not let you on the ferry without a TIP, a Temporary Importation Permit. In the event you have permanent resident status in Mexico, you'll not be issued a permit, and any existing 10-year permit is invalid once you obtain that status. This doesn't apply to temporary resident status. Remember, a TIP is required for every foreign-plated vehicle, if you're a resident or not. You may only bring one in if you are a temporary resident, and you cannot if you are a permanent resident. You may put a sibling, parent, or offspring on your registration and have them obtain the permit. In BC, you can gift your RV to them and then have yourself added back as a co-owner. A permanent resident can then drive that vehicle in Mexico without them being present. This is only useful with a motorhome, which will be issued a 10-year permit. Permits for trucks and cars are valid for 180 days, which is one entry. Once you get your permit, make sure it is easily accessible, as there are often checkpoints on the highway where you'll be asked to produce it. Not having a valid permit can result in vehicle confiscation. When you do cancel your TIP, it is very important to retain the receipt. Now, following these regulations will ensure a smooth entry for those long-awaited RV trips in Mexico. For more information about caravan adventures south of the U.S. border, visit mexicocaravans.com. Our podcast writer is Paul Beddows, the customer coordinator and technical advisor for Caravanas de Mexico, and may be reached at beddows1@telus.net or at 360-483-7933. For more information, again, visit mexicocaravans.com.